We're trying to do a little bit more for you all. So here we go. So.
This is also our first time recording.
Yeah, and the subject was what?
Oh, we're doing the podcast now.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yes. So the subject today is, do you believe in until death do you part?
Yeah. This one came up this week with the B. Smith article. If you all haven't seen that.
Did y'all see that?
Heath and I read it earlier this week, and we just watched a little video. The husband's kind of like rebuttal for it. And my first reaction was one of, I was a little disappointed. I'm going to be honest. Right. My first reaction wasn't what I feel now. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, baby. When I first heard it, my immediate thought was there's probably more to this story. And even though we hadn't really taken a deep dive into it, I was just thinking, when people, mature people have been married for that kind of time, and you look up and it's 20 plus years later and something out of the ordinary is going on, there's probably a backstory.
So if you haven't heard the story, B. Smith is like the Black Martha Stewart. I love B. Smith. B. Smith had tons of restaurants through New York. I don't, and DC. I don't know that much about her. I just know she was like one of my favorite kind of icons. Well, she had early onset of Alzheimer in 2013, and now
that's when she was diagnosed.
That's when she was diagnosed, and now it's pretty much full blown. Her husband of 27 years has brought a girlfriend into their home. Right. The daughter, who is actually B. Smith's stepdaughter, also cares for her, and it's a unique family dynamic. It's a different type of family.
Right.
And I saw some comments on Facebook and social media, and people were just talking about how appalled they were, how wrong he was. They wanted an intervention. They wanted someone to intervene and stop this. Some of that, I think, comes from the fact that the woman that he brought in is light of persuasion and much, much younger. Yeah. And we know how B. Smith is very wealthy.
She is.
So I think when I first...
Well, that also means that her husband is wealthy.
Yes. When I first thought about the situation, I was disappointed. Right. I was shocked. I thought it was wrong. How could this happen? Why are people letting this happen? And then I thought about it the next day. Yep. And what I thought was, let them do their marriage. That's my first thought that came to mind was, okay, that's how they're going to be married. Let's be married. And when I thought about it a little more, she's basically like a 2-year-old. She doesn't even recognize her own self in pictures in their home. She doesn't know who he is most of the time, nor does she know. She kind of knows the people that live with her,
right? But
she really doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, the Alzheimer's certainly has ravaged her brain, and so it's difficult for her to string sentences together, even one sentence now. And so it's a situation where you see her every day, and she appears to be in good health when you see her. She certainly still has her model beauty, and she's slim and vibrant and that kind of thing. And by the same token, she's somewhat despondent, not an adult in the sense of the way that we think of it. And so you have to sort of feel for the husband, and I think that there are a couple of things that I was going to throw out to the audience as we kind of talk through this. But I think that one of the key questions really is, after you get past the judgment of what you think, what your initial thought is about,
right, like me,
this scenario, and you extrapolate how you would react if you were thrust into this situation yourself.
Yeah.
You and I have been married for 28 years.
I can't imagine you not knowing who I was, you not knowing our children, you not remembering any of our wonderful memories, right, having those conversations with me. Right. That would be devastating.
Yeah, and you think about how that would make you feel, and you handling that situation, that scenario every day, and watching me get progressively worse.
Well, I'm not receiving that. We're just saying, I don't want to talk about it like that.
Yeah.
I don't receive that.
So the point is that I think that as people are looking at it from the outside in and making certain judgments, and there was some things in the Washington Post article about people on social making commentary, sending messages to the husband. There have been some YouTube vloggers who've created some content around it, and the thought is that there's always this judgment, right? And so, you can have feelings, you can have whatever feelings about the scenario that you want. Certainly, we all have our opinions, our biases, what have you. But I think that but after you get beyond that, the question is, before you jump to conclusions, before you make any kind of judgments about the husband and what he should or shouldn't do, what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, how you think he should be living his life with his wife, and if it's fair to her, etc. He's the one who has to handle that every day. He's the one who has to experience that every day. He is the one who has to live with his wife every day in a state of diminishing intellect in terms of her faculties. So the question I think I want to pose to people is, what would you do if it were you?
Yeah, it's difficult to say what you would do if it were you. And what we have to move to is one aspect, which I always go back to, is one of love. Mm-hmm. And what I see and what I understand about this current relationship, inclusive of the girlfriend, is that it's one of love. Mm-hmm. From what we see, it's one of inclusion, not division, not divisiveness. It's not like he's pushing her off and not including her in his life. When he met the girlfriend, from the story that I read, he said to her, "You need to meet B." And I think it's important that he moved through his commitment to death, through his commitment of life with one person for the rest of his life, the way he chooses to. I think we're very accepting of celebrities living their lives like they want to. Open marriage. We've heard several celebrity people say they have open marriages. We're in this like this, and this is how it is. But we don't say nothing about that. It's a choice. Just like so many other ways people go about living their lives, it's one of choice. And I think it's his choice. And I think when Heath and I talk about marriage forever and the importance around the institution for us, I think first and foremost, forever. So if this is how he chooses to do forever, I say let him do that. I say leave him alone, and I say let them be married like they're going to be married. If that's what they call their marriage, if that's what he calls his marriage, and everybody is in love and everyone is showing love, I say let them.
It's until you walk in someone's shoes, it's difficult to make a judgment about it, right? And so I think that I come down sort of the same way, baby. It's all about love and understanding and making adult decisions. Whether they sit well with you, with people looking from the outside in or not. I think that everyone has to live their life and understand that people are doing the best they can with what they have at that time. And so I think that the gentleman is to be applauded for his commitment to his wife. I think the gentleman, say what you will about his decision making around how he's coping with what's happening in his life. And you just have to be in prayer and just send good vibes toward that couple.
Yeah. It's all in love, guys. That's our opinion, Heath and Tracy's opinion. If you want to talk about this further, join us on Twitter. Jump in the conversation on Twitter. That's at Heath and Tracy TV.
At Heath and Tracy TV. Check us out. Hit us up.